Today we're going to be learning the final steps of transformation for monarch caterpillars to go from caterpillars to their chrysalis to butterflies. Right now what you're viewing is a monarch caterpillar that is molting and doing her final molt to reveal her chrysalis. Now her chrysalis was already on the inside underneath her skin that you can see that she's moving up, and this is how she's different than other insects that have a cocoon. A cocoon is something that is wrapped around an insect. So when you think about a cocoon, think about a green bean or a pea that has the peas or beans on the inside. That is not what she is actually doing. Her chrysalis actually is her, and it's just a different form of her. So if you touch a chrysalis, it's soft, and it actually is the insect. And right now you can see her wiggling back and forth and moving around quite a bit to try to get to her final form. This is a time-lapse video that I actually live broadcast to my television in my classroom so that my students could see it happening in real time. And before I time-lapsed it, this portion of the video was over 56 minutes long. And so we won't get to see the entire thing today because I actually had to turn it off so that my students could go to PE. But they got to see majority of the transformation that she made. Now, I think it's interesting to note that we called this particular caterpillar Norbert through the entire progression from egg all the way to the end until we got to this chrysalis stage. And then we learned that we could determine if Norbert was a girl or a boy by looking at the chrysalis, and we determined that Norbert was actually a girl. So on the second part of this video where you're going to see Norbert come out, we actually renamed her into Norberta because we realized that she was a girl and not a boy. Monarch caterpillars are currently being watched to see if they're going to be moved to the endangered list. So we talk a lot about that in our classroom, and we think it's really important to make sure that we are focused on taking care of them and making sure that they can get to these stages. Now you can start to see that Norberta is coming out here. And this stage, unlike the first stage, happens very quickly. If you are to turn your head, you will have a chrysalis, and then all of a sudden you'll have a butterfly and you'll miss the whole thing. So this portion of the video is not time-lapse. And you can see that she is coming out of her chrysalis. And what's interesting to note is the first time that we saw this in our classroom, we had to learn together because we thought something was wrong with our butterfly because the wings are so small and the abdomen is so incredibly large at this point that it doesn't really look like a butterfly should. And what happens is that the wings are so condensed and so small in the chrysalis that they actually have to be inflated, if you will, or filled up with the fluid that's in the abdomen. So in a moment you'll see her start pumping her abdomen and her wings will start to expand. The black lines that you see on her wings are not just print. Those are actually vein-like or straw-like structures that fill with the fluid and then expand and become strong for the butterfly to be able to fly. So think about a kite that's missing its piping that stabilizes the kite and makes it where it's not floppy. Well, that's exactly what the fluid in her abdomen is going to do to her wings. It's going to fill up all of those black lines that are on her wings that are vein-like structures and make it where her wings will expand and stabilize so that she can take flight after her wings dry and everything. As I mentioned before, monarchs are currently being watched by the government to see if they need to be put on the threatened or endangered species list. And so we've talked a lot in our classroom about not using pesticides, planting milkweed, planting pollinators so that monarchs have a place to feed, and also that they have their main food source as caterpillars, which is whatever type of milkweed is native to your area. I hope you've enjoyed our video. Thank you.